Well, welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today from our engineering department, it's Andrew McFadden. Welcome back to the show, Andrew. How you doing?
Hey, Jeremy, good.
Glad to have you here, and we're going to get on with our road construction update as we hit the hot days of summer, or whatever you want to call it. Road construction has been ongoing in different parts. I feel weird not talking about like this big project for once, but there's still lots of projects happening in the area. And the one that you might notice right out of the gate here is that and McCoy. A lot of work doing there. And I was telling Andrew that I feel like this project's just cruising.
Yeah, they're definitely making it through their stages. I think there was a changeover last week, and there's going to be another one proposed for next week. So, yep, they're moving fast. Those closures are still in effect, so no left turns, no U-turns. And if you bear with us, you'll have a nice new signal there to make all those turns with a full movement access intersection in August or at the end of August, if all goes well. So. Just bear with us. I know that that's a pain to get around up there, but hopefully, everybody can stay safe and we can get that intersection built pretty quickly.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like they have just been cruising along. So one thing that I have seen, though, Andrew, is the U-turn action there. Can you just remind motorists why we shouldn't be making the U-turn? And I apologize, I don't know the crossover there north of the and my northeast is going to be a little off there, but
Right.
you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, East Clayton there, right? That kind of so from the get-go, we restricted left turns, so folks couldn't take a left from McCoy, they couldn't take a left from and that was primarily just so that we could continue kind of the staging and not create those kind of dangerous conflicts that actually led to the construction of this signal through the HISIP grant application. Those are some of the more serious crashes, those kind of broadside crashes when people turn left in front of fast-moving vehicles. But so that's why we did that. But then we also noticed that folks were kind of trying to get around taking a left by just taking a right and U-turning pretty quickly down by East Clayton and kind of the trail crossing there. And really, I think we were concerned about that. With the trail being there, with the hill, folks moving pretty fast going northbound down the hill. We just felt like that wasn't the best place to make a U-turn. And in fact, there was a crash there, a rear end kind of crash that somebody tried to do a U-turn, somebody hit him coming from behind. So after we installed the prohibition on U-turn, so really just we have some detour signs put up to use Lacey, to use US 14, and to kind of get over to the Rimrock area. There's other options. I know they're not convenient, but they are safer to kind of go around and avoid that intersection and those turns if possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Safety first at those construction. I've seen too many close calls. That's my way into work every day. So, I've seen quite a bit that's been disturbing, and I just want to glad you recognized and explain why that's not a good idea there. So slow down and be safe on that one. Next, we're going to turn to some chip seal work happening on Lacey Road coming up. Tell us about this.
Yeah, and that's kind of East Lacey, going over from basically the roundabout up there by Haight Farm, then north all the way over to MM. And so that kind of got started in earnest this week with some pavement marking removals. I think they're mostly done, but they'll have a few to finish up today and tomorrow, Wednesday. And then really they'll get the chip sealing, which is basically just we put kind of emulsified layer down, kind of tarry black layer that and then we put some chips on top. They're gonna be doing that on Thursday and Friday, both on Lacey Road and on McCoy, and some other smaller streets that local streets that should be all wrapped up this week. And for Lacey specifically, there will be a lane open in each direction, but there might be some temporary kind of full road closures just while they put that emulsified layer down. Mainly just we don't want to spray anybody's vehicle or have anybody track onto that and then get that all under their underside of their vehicle. So it's totally safe to drive on once we get those rocks down, the chips as we call them. But just making sure we don't want to get anybody's vehicle dirty. So there might be some temporary closures on those roads during those operations.
tar is hard to get off. So
Yep.
bottom line, like, you don't want the pain in the butt of doing that. Yeah, I would listen to and follow instructions out there as this is going on. Turning our attention to some telecommunications work happening too. So there's other small closures, utility work happening around the city. Those are, I guess, could you describe those for us? And not where everyone's happening, but what's going on there.
Sure, yeah. And so you'll see the every street in Fitchburg, but particularly they're more noticeable when you're seeing that work get done on the major arterials like Lacey or McKee. And you'll basically usually see road work ahead, utility work ahead signs. That those are utility contractors and not anything to do necessarily with the city. Those guys are working for the telecom companies, laying fiber, in conduit, and they get they go through a city process to get a street occupancy permit and a work in a right of way permit. So the city knows kind of what they're doing, and if they're crossing underneath our facilities, that we can be out there to inspect it, make sure everything's done correctly. They don't bore through a storm sewer pipe or lead to a crack sidewalk or something like that. But as far as the actual work being accomplished, that's kind of for private interest that the city's just aware of and therefore oversight. So you'll notice those kind of going on, and typically those don't close down lanes, but sometimes they close down sidewalks or partial lane or that sort of thing, just while they're moving their equipment and getting past some of those areas. So I just kind of want to make folks aware of those, because those pop up and they're not necessarily covered in these sorts of construction updates, because they're not on our schedule. So but I just want to make folks aware of them, and you can always call us and we can kind of give you the information. Typically you'll see ahead of time, those 811s, you'll see the flags out there. You'll at least know something's coming, but what it is, feel free to give us a call and we can let you know.
Yeah, it's not necessarily connected with any of our city projects. These are just infrastructure of, like I said, broadband and cable company work. So we'll glad you have the phone lines open to answer those questions, because it can be confusing at times, I'm sure. Finally, want to talk about the South Sain Road project. Basically, we had to talk about this one too, because I'm like, I thought it was here and here. Like, well, it's here and here, and you're actually going to pull up a map and walk us through this. So tell us about this project, Andrew, and what is coming up.
Yeah, so South Sain was kind of split up. So it's a reconstruction from Aurora up to McCoy, or through McCoy, really. And the whole roadway is being reconstructed. We're going to add on-street bike facilities and curb and gutter in most places. But we're kind of chunking up into phases, mainly for grant opportunities, so that we can get some other aid along this project. But this particular phase is going to be starting here in August of 2022 and extending through to June of next year, 2023. It's going to start basically the project scope is in 22 to go basically from the Swan Creek north, and I can share my screen. In kind of totality, this project goes from Aurora, kind of, it does touch Lacey Road in either direction to improve this intersection, and through East Sherrill up to Nannerberry Park right here. And so that's kind of the phase one project. And so we're also reconstructing East Sherrill with a signal and kind of improving East Sherrill as well. But what's actually going to be done in 2022 is Swan Creek North. So basically this portion. So let's call it phase 1A in 2022. And so first off, we're going to kind of connect the storm sewer and route it up. Basically, you want to do your underground work first. So if that was sanitary or storm sewer or water, you do those utilities first, and then you can kind of build the road up on top. So we'll do that first. There will be some closures, and we have some of that specified in our contract documents. So you can kind of, I can walk through this briefly, but there's going to be some phases to put temporary pavement down so that later on, when we're working on the west side, there'll be enough room to get past there. So that'll be stage A. Then, and so we'll have a detour generally to move people to you can kind of see here, over to Lacey Road, then either in the East Sherrill, if you're going to get to your property there, or if you're just going to continue, we're actually going to move people onto Central Park Place. so that you can just get totally around these closures. Because really, when we're reconstructing the intersection first of East Sherrill and then in 2023 of Lacey, we want to make sure that we can get as much work done as fast as possible. So there'll be local access for properties there, but if you're going through the area, we'll have these other detours for you, both east and west of the corridor. And so you can see here on the so the project will be going on here, but if you're on the west side, and we have that intersection closed, there'll be some detour signs there to use Sunflower or use Stoneman to kind of get around. So again, we're looking for approval from the contractor. So there was a awarded bid, and now we're going through council to get that approval. So we'll likely have that on the 28th. So once we have that, then the contractor can really in earnest get their schedule going, revise some of these early kind of concepts of what the detour is going to look like. And then, we'll have some more information later this summer just to kind of clarify before anything gets going too fast in earnest.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely be posting that to the project website. And so that's, Public Works. And then we have a South Saline project. So that we'll be posting these documents and then any updated documents ahead of time so people can get comfortable with what the routing is going to look like. So.
All right, Andrew. Well, I appreciate your time as always, and we'll check back in real soon on more construction updates.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.